Hey guys, and welcome back to Bee's Kitchen. Hoping you're all doing well. So today I am going to show you how to make one of my favorite cakes, and that is carrot cake. Guys, this cake is nice and sweet. It is super moist. It has some chopped walnuts inside. I have filled it with this delicious cream cheese icing, and of course it's also covered in the cream cheese icing. You are in for a treat, so stay with me and let's get started. For the carrot cake, I'm using vegetable oil, brown sugar, castor sugar. I have some chopped walnuts. I have salt, baking powder, ground cinnamon, bicarbonate soda, vanilla extract, some eggs. You're also going to need plain flour, and then finally you're going to need grated carrots. All ingredients, including measurements, will be in the description box below. Now go ahead and preheat your oven at 170 degrees, and then using unsalted butter, grease your baking tins. Now once you finish greasing your baking tins, you will need to dust it with plain flour. This will ensure that once you add your cake batter, it doesn't stick to your baking tin. So if you are using normal tins, you can do the same process, or once you grease the tins, you can also line it with parchment paper. I'm using 2 round tins because I'm making this cake for a friend and I'll be layering it, and I've got a spare one which I'll be keeping at home. Next, I'm going to go ahead and sieve my plain flour into a bowl. To the sieved flour, I'm going to add ground cinnamon, baking powder, salt, and finally bicarbonate soda. I'll set this aside for later use. Let's get started on making the cake batter. So you're going to add vegetable oil to a mixing bowl, followed by your castor sugar, and then finally your brown sugar. At this point, I'm going to be using my manual mixer and I'm going to mix this together for about 5 minutes. And guys, I do have an electric hand mixer, but my husband was keeping me company whilst I was filming this content, and if I had used it, I would have disturbed him. So if you do have an electric hand mixer, go ahead and use it. So once you have mixed the sugars and the oil together for 5 minutes, go ahead and add 6 eggs. Now you're going to be adding the eggs one at a time. So you add 1 egg, then you mix together for 1 minute, then you continue adding the remaining eggs until you no longer have any eggs left. Last remaining egg goes in, and I'm just going to mix everything together. Guys, using a manual mixer is not as easy as it looks. So now I'm going to add vanilla extract, and then I'll continue to mix everything together for a minute. So at this point, your mixture should be light and pale, and as you can see, I have put the hand whisk at one side, and I've just mixed my flour in with the baking powder, the salt, ground cinnamon, and bicarbonate soda. Now I am dividing the flour into 2 parts, and I'm just going to use my spatula to mix everything together well. The reason why I don't want to add all the flour at once, we all know baking is quite messy, especially when flour comes in the mix. So just make sure that you divide the flour into 2. Mix the first part in very well using your spatula, and then go ahead and add the remaining flour, and then continue to mix together well. So now that the flour is well combined, I'm going to add my chopped walnuts. So at this point, whilst you're using your spatula to mix everything together, you will notice that because of the amount of ingredients that you have in your mixing bowl, the mixing becomes quite hard. But don't give up, because your cake is going to come out incredible. Now I'm going to add my grated carrot, and I'm doing this gradually. I'm not adding all the carrot at once. So I'm just mixing it. Once I add some of the carrot to the mixture, I'm going to continue to mix it together, then add more carrots, then continue to mix until I no longer have any carrots left. And whilst you're mixing, just be gentle, take your time, because this is cake that you're going to enjoy. So don't rush the process, you know, just have some love for this cake batter. So at this point, everything is well combined. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to divide the cake batter into my tins equally. Now I say equally, so I'm going to use my weighing scale, and I use a weighing scale just to help me to divide the cake batter equally, well, as much as I could. So the first cake tin weighed around 592, 593. Now the second one, which I'm about to add the cake batter to, is going to weigh a bit more, and at least now I know that the second one has more weight compared to the first one. So what I'm going to do is, once I add more of the cake batter to the last cake tin, which I have, the one I'll be keeping at home, any remaining butter, I'm just going to spread it between the first cake tin and the second cake tin. So as I mentioned, I'm now going to ensure that my cakes have the same weight. So this one was the one that came out a lot shorter, so I'm adding more of the remaining cake butter, and this is the one that weighed more than the first one, so I'm just adding a little bit. So now my cake is ready, so I'm just going to place this in the oven at 170 degrees and allow it to bake for 50 minutes. Now 50 minutes into baking, the cake is ready. I have taken it out and I'm placing a stick at the center of the cake to ensure that it is fully cooked, and you'll know if the stick comes out dry, this indicates that your cake is cooked. If it comes out wet, that means it is not cooked and it will need to go back inside the oven. Now for the cream cheese filling, you're going to need butter, you're going to need some cream cheese, and then finally icing sugar. But before we get to the icing sugar part, you're going to need to mix together the cream cheese and the butter until it is well combined. And yes, I get to use my electric hand mixer. I'm so happy. So at this point, when it is well combined, go ahead and add your icing sugar. And guys, the icing sugar, the cream cheese, and the butter really depends on the amount of cream cheese frosting that you like. I don't really like too much, so I didn't use a lot, but I do know a lot of people do tend to like the cream cheese filling, so just add as much or as little as you like. So I did allow the cake to cool down completely, and then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the dome part of the cake using a sharp knife, and this is because I will be stuffing this cake, so I do want it to sit on top of each other really nicely. So what I did was, just using a sharp knife, I went ahead and removed the dome parts, and I'm going to do the same thing for the other cake. I am not a cake maker, so I don't have the correct item to basically remove the dome parts, but my sharp knife did the job. And I am making this cake for a friend, which I thought would just be really nice to decorate the cake really nicely. So I have finished cutting the dome part of the cake and I've placed it on my cake stand, and now I'm just adding the cream cheese filling, and I'm just going to spread everything out evenly. And this is looking really, really pretty, so I'm just going to top with the other cake and then go ahead and add more of the cream cheese on top of it. This is going to be the top layer, so I'm just going to make sure that everything is spread out very well and evenly as well. And oh my goodness, guys, I am super proud of myself because I think my cake is looking really, really nice. Now for some decoration, I'm just going to go around the cake with some grated carrot. Normally I will use some of the chopped walnut, but I used all of it to bake my cake. So I'll just use the carrot, some of the shredded carrots for this. And my cake is ready. I'm so proud and it looks beautiful. Let us cut it so you can see how gorgeous this cake looks inside. Like I said, it is super moist, it's sweet, and it is delicious. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, kindly please click on that subscribe button. Don't forget to like this video and also comment below. Enjoy your delicious carrot cake and I'll see you next time. Bye.